Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands for Scrap Academy. It's term 3, Finding Inspiration, and this is week 1, where we've got this wonderful sketch by Laura Rumble, and I was showing you how I've used it. I always tend to print these off just so it can help me with the inspiration, and I've just put it above my desk there, so I've always got it in my eye line so that I can keep referring back to it. I'm just showing you a few of the papers that I've dug out. I'm looking for something in autumnal colours to go with the photos that I've picked. There I am looking at the sketch again, looking at the layers that are on it while I start to think about how I want to use the papers. Some of them are by Amy Tan from the Late Afternoon range. A couple are exclusives, Grandma's House from the Hip Kit Club. Some are also Simple Stories, Cozy Days. It's a real mix, this is. I've definitely picked everything by the colour rather than the manufacturer. So I'm using my guillotine there just to cut out some of the pieces, just so I can start to think about how I want to layer them. I've got 4 photos, you may notice there. There's only 3 in the original sketch, and the one in the bottom left hand corner doesn't make the cut, but it does make me think about how I want the rest of the design to look. So I'm just matting the photos now on this pale pink, which is the back of the orange flowery paper, just so I can lift them off some of the patterns. In the sketch, I think the papers go over to right to the edges, but I'm actually going to cut them shorter. So off camera, I've just distressed all the edges. I didn't think you needed to watch me do that. I'm going to build this top panel off without it being stuck to the cardstock to start with, because I wasn't quite sure whether I wanted to keep the white. So now I'm looking at the lower half of this layout. I want to balance that top portion. I also want to add some journaling. There's quite a lot to say about these photographs, so I definitely would like to have a space to do a little bit of writing. So one of these tags from the Cozy Days range is going to be perfect. Also, I've used some of their chipboard. That's what I've just brought in now with the fox and the banner. Also there, I think you saw some Days of Splendour as well, and also some Jen Hadfield gold leaves. I'll come back to those later on. They are absolutely adorable. I think I'm going to need more than one packet of those, definitely. So I'm just looking at making a cluster at the left hand side of my photograph there. It's a partial tag. I've used the rest for something else. I'm not so keen on the leaves on the flowers. This is from the Cozy Days that I've fussy cut out because they're so fine in the stems that I was leaving some of the background colour on. So I've chopped them off for now, and I'm going to replace them shortly. I've added some foam pads to some of these bits of ephemera just so I can raise them up. I feel like there's something missing under the banner, so I'm thinking about adding another piece of paper just there, just to... and that yellow really wasn't the right colour, but it's always worth checking, isn't it? Particularly when you're using up scraps from some pattern papers. So I've die cut myself some leaves just to add around the flowers at either side. I'm just out of scraps of coloured cardstock, just to complement the papers. And I'm going to start to stick those in. While I'm faffing, I thought I'd tell you about these photographs. They were all taken at the Bellagio Hotel in Vegas in the autumn or the fall of 2018. I was very lucky to be able to stay there, and what I didn't realise is that they decorate their conservatory area 5 times a year with a different display. And so it was magical. These photos were taken during the day, but because it was free to go in, you could just wander around any time. Obviously, as we were staying in the hotel, I think I must have been in and out of this display 5 or 6 times over the 5 days that we stayed there. Now, if you just see that little pot of white stuff appear on my desk, that's talcum powder. I find that when I'm using stickers or chipboard that are already sticky on the back, and I don't want them to compress and all be stuck together in the album, I put a little bit of talc on the back. See, that's what I'm doing to these little Jen Hadfield stickers now. I stick them into position, and to make sure that they don't stick down fully, I stick a bit of talc on the back of the tips, just to give a bit of depth. So I'm looking at the bottom of the page here. I'm echoing some of the papers that I've used at the top, just a small amount, just to tie everything in together. I think I've distressed all the edges of them too, just as again coordinate with the top, and I'm just getting them to the right lengths, so that I'm happy with their positioning. I've added 2 tags just to layer over the top one. I think it's time to squeeze another fox in. There's so many nice autumn embellishments around at the moment. So can you see the title? It says Falling Asleep. It seems a little bit odd, but in fact that was the title of the display that we saw in Vegas. So I thought it would be perfect. These are old thickers. At the moment I've got them there on wax paper just to see if they would fit, because they're such a big font, and they do, and I do go on to use them. But I always do that when I'm never quite sure. So I'm finally going to stick all this down at the bottom. It always takes me plenty of time before I actually commit to actually sticking anything down. I just like the process really, and I like to be sure. So I'm just going to get all those into position. So anyway, I was telling you about this. So that fairy is I think she's the goddess of harvest, if you can see her in the right hand photo. And she was absolutely huge, lying there asleep. It was absolutely amazing. If I ever get the chance to go back to Vegas again, I will definitely be walking into the Bellagio to see what display they have on in their conservatory. And I would recommend it to anybody that travels that way. So here I am still faffing a little bit with this bottom right hand corner, getting everything into position. Like the top bits, I started to tuck a few of the fussy cut flowers in and around the tags. As I say, they're from a Simple Stories Cozy Days paper. I've really had my money's worth out of that. I think I've fussy cut literally every flower out of that piece of paper, as I've liked them so much. So I just need to get these just where I want them. It's funny how some things can go straight down, and other things I can mess about with for quite some time. I just want to make sure that I can still get this big title along there. There we are. I've glued that down off camera because the letters were older, the adhesive had gone on the back. So to make sure they don't all end up in the bottom of the page protector, I've actually just put some wet glue on the back of them. So I'm just adding another little flower and leaf and another gold one. I've tried to keep the gold ones running round, just to help your eye travel around the page. And I'm just doing some final tuck throughs at this bottom corner. I do love to die cut shapes. These leaves have been perfect. Just so easy just to use up scraps and then just to keep tucking them in. Metal dies has certainly made a comeback as far as I'm concerned. I do have a electronic cutting machine, but when it comes to small pieces, I always use my metal dies. And usually I've got something, a shape that I really want. I've definitely collected them over the last 2 or 3 years. It's just finding them. Try to keep everything organised. I'm hoping by the end of lockdown I might do a craft room tour for you. We'll have to see. I've got a bit of tidying up to do first. So just adding a few last bits and pieces. My hands don't normally move this fast. I've sped up this video a couple of times, so I'm just going to tuck a few more because I've cut them out, I might as well use them. I think that's my philosophy here. I'm going to add a little bit of embellishment on the left of those tags. It will look less stark once I've added my journaling. But it's going to take me a little bit just to make sure I've got all the details to add to that card. I think for the final pictures, the journaling's actually in place. I would really recommend that you have a go at this sketch, turn it any way you like. It doesn't matter if it doesn't end up looking like the sketch in the end. The idea is that it's an inspiration point. Here's pictures of the finished layout, and you can see the journalings on the card. I've added a little bit of string in the cards too, and here's just a couple of close-ups. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.